Namaste, welcome to Buddha's teaching. Today we're talking about criticism. How do we handle criticism? Criticism is one of those things that we encounter a lot on a day-to-day basis. Criticism from family members, criticism from friends, and criticism from people at work, right? So there are all kinds of criticism, okay, as we go through our daily lives. Okay, for example, some example of the criticism is that when people talk to you or you do something and then people sort of like scold at you or criticize your work, right? Why you can't do better than that, right? Why you so dumb, right? Um, why you dress like that? Okay, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no clue. All kinds of criticism, right? When you have conversation, when we have conversation, especially with somebody like your spouse or your sibling or in some kind of meeting or some kind of exchange in conversation in ideas and things like that, there's criticism. So criticism, we meet it, we encounter it, and we receive it every day. And so it's one of those things that we cannot avoid. But how do we handle criticism is what's important. Okay, for most of us, for most of the people, when somebody criticize us, right? When people criticize you, automatically it's a natural way of a human being. We try to defend ourselves. Okay, so how do we defend ourselves? We try to up uh, one, one up the other by expressing some kind of idea, some kind of ideology, some kind of opinions, things like that based on what we learn, based on what we have done, we research, and all that. So by reacting back to criticism, uh, we are we have an emotion, right? So we react with some kind of emotion, and most of the time, it's a unpleasant emotion or angry emotion. Okay, so once that happens, the mind is already in the unwholesome state. Okay, the mind when the mind is already in the unwholesome state, there is no um, wisdom or there isn't a right thinking involved in that, because now the mind wants to make itself right. The mind want to show that what it's thinking is right. So the Buddha say one should not overthink about criticism from others. Okay, but instead one should only concentrate on the right deed that needs to be done. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that it doesn't mean that you do not think about criticism at all. You don't just brush everything off, whatever people criticize you, and you just don't listen, you just ignore. That's not it either. Okay, it depends on the criticism. So there are different kind of criticism. Of course, there are people who cares about us. Okay, uh, for example, parents. Okay, or somebody who cares about us, or a teacher or whatnot. even though sometimes they do not use proper words in a right in a way, or they tend to use sometimes people use hurtful words in trying to correct people, in trying to correct you, which is on their part is not the proper way to do either, but that is not something for us to correct them, right? Not at the particular moment, but there are intention behind criticism. Okay. So for example, if you receive criticism from your parents in a way that the parent say things with the intention of you getting better, okay, of you doing better in life, let's say, of you doing better in school, or to do something better, all right, in whatever you do, let's say. So that kind of criticism that comes from somebody who cares, all right, somebody who cares, they actually want us to be better, right? To be a better person according to what they see, okay? According to what they see that we are doing something not right. So they're trying to tell us something out of their good intention, okay? Out of their good intention. Although their way of expressing their intention may not be the right way, may not be the appropriate way, but the intention is good. Okay, so in that case, you have to look at the intention of the person. Okay, what kind of criticism that they are giving you. So even though they may use harsh words, right? But if you can learn to look into what they are talking about, okay, instead of taking it personal, right? Instead of taking it personal, listen to what is it exactly that they're trying to say, what kind of message that they're trying to get to you, right? Some that if the message is something that for us to to become somebody better, to do a good thing and things like that, okay, you can step back and say, okay, all right, uh, I think I can use that advice, okay. So in that case, so it depends on the criticism, it depends on the people who give us criticism, right? There are of course people who just criticize us and then they just they don't really have any interest in making you a better person or anything like that. They just criticize you. So for that, you can just ignore it and don't think about it, don't take it personal, because as we all know, you and I, for lay people, as long as people who criticize us are not enlightened being, okay, normal being, they always talk, right? They always have opinion, and a lot of time they do not know how to use the proper way of interacting with others. Vice versa, the same as you, same as us, right? We sometimes we criticize others, but we do not use uh, the right word. We do not use the proper way of communicating. Instead, we use emotion. Okay. Instead, we use anger to criticize others. Right. So that is something that we need to learn ourselves also, because we also criticize others as others criticize us in the same way. So let's say if you criticize your spouse or your children, or you criticize your friend or whatnot, what is it that what kind of intention is it that you have, right? Is it out of good intention, caring intention, right? Or out of just, you know, of just for the sake of saying things, okay? So that is, there's different kinds of criticism. So, and of course, you know, for most of us, as we are not enlightened people, okay, the way that we handle criticism is somewhat not really helpful, okay? We tend to fight back, yell back, try to defend ourselves. So another word, we react, right? We react to something that when we hear criticism and it hits us, boom, inside, we respond back really fast. We react back to that criticism, okay, right away, okay. So that is one of our flaw, of course, you know, because we cannot help it. It's the way that we have been uh, doing, the way we've been conducting our life, right? Up until this moment and probably into the future. So, and I know, and there are people who sort of like understand that, okay, you know, I kind of react fast. I try to I try to keep myself you know, calm. I try to keep my mouth shut, but um, it's it just doesn't work. All right. In other words, they say they try to, you know, to not to react, but it's just, but when something come out of the blue, okay, somebody say something boo, and then they just boom, you know, go, you know, reaction go back fast. So the question arises that how do you do that? I mean, how can you uh, be at, how can you not react to criticism or to whatever people say, and things like that. So that's one of the things that we need to train. As now as at least we realize that, oh, okay, that's how the mind works. Okay, the mind reacts very fast. Okay, our reaction, and we normally react with emotion, right? Angry emotion, unpleasant emotion, okay, dislike emotion. So, and when we do that, and we also remember, we are also lay people, we also criticize people, right? And other people will react back to us also, and the conversation becomes heated because of that exchange. So how do you how do we handle criticism? Okay, so first of all, as we know, our mind react fast, right? So that's one of the benefit from learning how to slow down the mind through meditation, right? Meditation, that is one of the benefit. Meditation uh, is a way, and I'm talking about samadhi meditation, is the way of learning how to bring the mind down instead of having the mind reacting very fast all the time. When we learn how to meditate, we learn to calm the mind down and try to have the mind focus on just, you know, one thing, focus on the breath or focus on whatever object that we like, okay, and just keep it calm. So with that, then when we train the mind that way, then the mind can be a little bit less um, jumping around like monkeys, right? In a way, and the mind can be a little bit at peace, a little bit at ease. So Just imagine if you never train your mind, because as human being, as we walk through our life, as we go through our life, during our waking moment, our mind is always thinking, okay, and it's always reacting. So in other words, the mind is always, like that. The mind doesn't, you know, I mean, there's time that when we are sleepy or we go to relax, then the mind slow down a little bit. But other than that, our mind is active. So because of that, the mind reacts very fast, and the mind is not aware of itself. Um, so meditation helps, in that way. Samadhi meditation helps us to bring down the mind, the mental activity, okay, so that the mind get used to not respond fast, not to react fast. The mind can be at a level that that enable us to step back from responding right away, from reacting right away to criticism. Okay, when the mind is at a let's say, just like you drive a car. If you drive a car fast, and if something happen, you can't, boom, it just, right there. You cannot stop it because your mind's already fast. The car's already going fast. Something happen, collision, right? But if you drive a little bit slower, if something happen, you can stop the car, right? You can slow down the car enough, give the car enough time to, from getting into an accident. So the same way, if your mind is having awareness, and the mind has been trained to slow down a little bit, and then the mind do not react, boom, right away to the criticism that people give to us. Okay, so that's one way about from learning samadhi meditation, which is learning how to focus our mind on one thing, okay, by just sitting and learning how to focus. So that's the samadhi meditation helps us in that way. And also the other way is, of course, the vipassana meditation, and that involves understanding the mind, how the mind works, and that is the thing that I have been talking about all along, right? Vipassana meditation, or becoming aware of our very own mind, or our very own emotional activity that is happening, okay? And by understanding our own mental activity, when the mind happens, when the mind arises, then the mind stop reacting, okay? But you have to understand, what is this, what is the nature of the mind, right? So so again, the more we talk about it, it always goes back to this mind right here, and always go back to our very own training. Look within inside, the training goes always go back to us, always go back to ourselves, okay? Learning how to handle situation by not responding, by not reacting, and by understanding, okay? Understanding is very important, right? If we do not understand this mechanism right here, there's no way that we can, understand others. Okay, we understand how this works, and we can understand how others works as well, right? So to handle criticism, and of course, we now we have some kind of understanding that, okay, you and I, we all, when you have a conversation with somebody, you have to keep in mind that we are all lay people, okay? We say things without really think too much, Okay, when we criticize, we just criticize. Okay, and when we react, we just react. So these are the activities of lay people. Okay, lay people, we just like that communicate on a normal on a normal level. Okay, so and because of that, the time that we have flare-ups in conversation because of criticism that we don't like. But as we learn more and more about emotion, about how the mind react, how the mind responds to different scenario, to different situation. Okay, and based on what? All right, based on desire, based on anger, based on hatred and all that stuff, then we start to understand, oh, okay, this is why the mind react in a certain way. There's dislike. Okay, the mind hears, the ear hears something that it doesn't like, and it responds back, right? So that is the natural way of it's a natural mental activities of everybody. Okay, and it does that based on desire. And as we all know, every single one of us, nobody wants to get into some kind of you know uh, unhappiness, unpleasant mood or anything. Everyone wants to be happy, right? Everyone wants to be happy, wants to be in wants to be pleasant, want to be in a comfortable situation all the time. But we keep getting ourselves into different unwholesome, different unpleasant uh, situation because our mind is all over the place, right? Somebody say something good and pleasant, praise us, giving us good reviews or whatnot, and the mind responds back happily, pleasantly, joyfully. But if somebody criticizes us, then we respond back negatively, and so see the different activity of the mind that is happening, and that is normal for lay people because that's the way of the normal mind works. And as long as we are doing that, and we will always keep doing that all the time. But by learning, by understanding how the mind works, and then you see that, oh, okay, this mind, oh, here, react to this because of this, react to this based on this, right? Now you have an understanding, you sort of like have an awareness of the mind that is doing things. Okay, it's not that you do it. Okay, it's the mind that is doing it automatically. Okay, so once you start to understand, to have an idea, or to start to recognize this mental activities that is always happening, then you can sort of like distance yourself, detach yourself a little bit at a time from this feeling, from this emotion that you always you have been attached to it all this time. Okay, because we are attached to our own feeling, we are attached to our own emotion, right? When we're angry, we go with it. When we're happy, we go with it. Okay, so we are attached to all that feeling. But once we start to recognize that all these emotion, all of these feelings here, these are a natural phenomenon. Okay, we don't have to do it. The mind will the natural mind reacts in a way, in that way by itself. All right, you don't make yourself laugh. Okay, when the mind sees certain thing that it likes, it just you know burst out laughing. You don't have to go out, I need to laugh. Okay, there's no need. The mind when the mind is pleasant, it just boom, laugh. Okay, and when something is not pleasant, the mind hears something not pleasant, the mind just react negatively, angrily, right? Or sad or worry, or boom. It's just like that, automatic. Okay, it's a natural way of the mind. So, but we have been attached to that feeling. We've been attached to that emotion. Okay, and because of that, we are caught up in all this emotion. Right now, I'm not saying that we are to deny all this emotion or feeling, but we can become aware of this. Okay, when the mind is happy, you be aware that okay, the mind is happy. Okay, the mind is sad, you're just aware that the mind is sad. Okay, and there's reason behind all that. So again, it always comes down to our own mental activity. It always comes down to the mind here, how 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 it responds, how it works, right? So by understanding uh, where the deep level of our mental activity, um, we can handle situation, we can handle criticism in a proper way, in a positive way, right? Without having to try to figure out how can I silence my mind. You cannot silence your mind, right? How can I keep my mouth shut? Well, you have to understand how your mind works first in order to keep silence, right? Because if you don't understand how this mind works, you always respond and you cannot keep your mouth closed. You always go blah 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 blah, go back, right? Talk back and all that. So because you do not understand how this mind is working, okay? If that's what, once you understand how this mind is working, then you don't have to do anything. The mind will slow itself back, right? Will pull itself back instead of reacting right away, instead of responding right away. The mind has an understanding, right? Has an awareness of itself and say, okay, keep back, right? No reacting, no responding. It depends on situation, on diff- different on different situation. Sometimes you can respond, sometimes you don't, because you see the people who you communicate with or the situation you're in. You you know that's where the true wisdom of the mind arrives. But by not reacting, by not responding right away, and because the mind understands, then the mind, when the mind does not react like that, boom, like that, the mind gives space to wisdom, okay, to right thinking. All right, so then right thinking arise. Right thinking will tell the mind whether to say things or not to say things, right? Whether to do things or not to do things. See, that is different from reacting, right? Reacting, boom, 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 boom. That is a what we call not a mindful. It's a, I can say the opposite is mindless, right? It's mindless. The mind that which means the mind is not aware of itself. The mind just go whatever, okay. But being mindful, the mind just step back a little bit, okay, give it space and assess what is it that we are talking about. What kind of criticism is it? Is it good, bad? Is it something beneficial? Okay, then you can take something good out of that criticism. Okay, if it's not beneficial, you can just okay, put it to a side and don't not think about it, right? And you don't take things personal because we understand, because the mind now understand that that's people. People are people. People criticize. People have mouth. People speak. People have opinion, and that's how it is, right? You cannot stop people from talking. So, and that is normal. That is how it is. But how we react, That is our job, right? How we respond, that's our job. If we respond with, all this emotion, all this, then we lost. We have lost our mind in a way, right? That's what they say. You lost your mind, so you just go with the flow, with the feeling, with the emotion that you have. We just go, or you can choose to step back, not respond right away. Say, oh, what is it? The message, is it good, bad? Okay, not good. You just let it go. Good, okay. I think I like that, and you know, and I keep it. So look at the intention, right? Look at the intention of the criticism. If it's meant for something good for us, keep it. Even though sometimes the words or the phrase that people use not pleasant, a lot of time, but you say okay, he mean good, she mean good, so it's all right. Okay, so that's how you handle the situation, from uh, from from escalating things, to another level. Instead, you just step back and chill. In a way, you just chill. You say, okay, I take it. Right. So that's my input for today. How to handle criticism. Okay. So until next time, I like to pay respect to the triple gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dharma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Namaste.